Okay. Are you ready to dive into some old Hollywood glamour and scandalous secrets?
Ooh, I love a good scandal.
But this one has a love story, too, that really defied the times.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So we're talking about the book, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
And trust me, this is not your typical Hollywood tell-all.
Oh, really? What makes it so different?
Well, the book is written as if Evelyn Hugo is telling her own story.
Oh, wow. So we're getting it straight from the source.
Exactly. We're not just getting a glimpse into her life. We're getting her perspective on things, her motivations, and even her justifications.
That is fascinating to be a fly on the wall like that.
Right. It's like she's sitting right here with us, spilling the tea on all seven husbands, her rise to fame, and even this forbidden love affair that could have ended her career.
Okay, now you have my attention.
But before we get into all that, let's start with what really intrigued me. Evelyn's ambition.
Okay, ambition. Tell me more about that.
So this woman came from nothing. A difficult childhood in Hell's Kitchen.
Wow, so she really had to fight for everything.
And yet she clawed her way to the top of Hollywood.
That is impressive.
It's not just that she became successful. It's how she did it.
How so?
She reinvented herself completely.
What do you mean?
She changed her appearance, her backstory, and even left her first husband behind.
Whoa, she was not messing around.
It makes you wonder what she was running from and just how far she was willing to go to achieve her dreams.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's like she had this fire in her belly, this relentless drive that wouldn't let anything stand in her way.
She sounds fierce.
She was. And the book doesn't shy away from showing how she used every tool at her disposal to get what she wanted.
What kind of tools are we talking about?
I mean, her beauty, her charm, her intelligence.
I mean, those are powerful tools, especially in Hollywood.
Right. But there's this one scene where she confronts a studio head demanding a better role.
Oh, wow, she went head to head with the studio.
Yes. And it's such a small detail, but it speaks volumes about her character.
What do you mean?
She knew her worth, and she wasn't afraid to fight for it, even in a system that was designed to keep women like her in their place.
That's a good point. It shows her strength.
And it's that strength that makes her so compelling. She's not just some glamorous icon. She's a complex, flawed human being who made some tough choices.
I like that. She's relatable.
And speaking of choices, let's talk about those seven husbands.
7 husbands. Wow, that's a lot of marriages even for Hollywood.
It makes you wonder, was she searching for love, security, or was each marriage a calculated move to further her career?
Or maybe a little bit of both.
That's the million-dollar question, and each husband represents a different chapter in her life, a different facet of her personality.
Ooh, I love that. Tell me more about the husbands.
Well, you have the early marriage of convenience.
Okay, makes sense. Gotta start somewhere.
Then there's the passionate but ultimately destructive love affair.
Oh, those can be brutal.
And then there's this marriage that was purely for show, to hide an even deeper, more dangerous secret.
No, that sounds juicy.
And that's where Celia St. James comes in.
Celia St. James, the name sounds familiar.
Their relationship is the heartbeat of this book, this forbidden love that simmers beneath the surface of every other relationship.
Okay, now I'm really interested.
And their story is like a slow burn, starting as this staged publicity stunt.
Oh, wow. So they had to pretend in the beginning.
Yeah, and then it evolves into something much more intense, much more real.
You know, those fake relationships never seem to stay fake in Hollywood.
But it's not all sunshine and roses
Mhm.
because they live with this constant fear of exposure, with all the societal pressure of the time.
I bet back then it must have been really difficult.
And that creates this incredible tension that just leaps off the page, you know?
So it's a real page turner.
You can almost feel the weight of their secret, the constant push and pull between wanting to be together and needing to protect their careers.
And probably their lives, too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It makes you ache for them, for what they could have had if the world had been a different place.
that's a good point. It really makes you think about the times.
And that's what's so brilliant about this book. It's not just some juicy Hollywood tale.
What is it then?
It's a story about love and ambition and the sacrifices we make when faced with impossible choices.
I like that.
It really makes you wonder, would you have the courage to fight for love like Evelyn and Celia did, knowing the risks and the potential heartbreak?
That's a tough question. It really makes you think.
And we've only scratched the surface here.
Really? There's more.
Oh, yeah. I have so many questions like, why did she marry each of these men?
Yeah, what was she looking for?
And what truly happened between her and Celia?
I need to know all the details.
And how did she even navigate motherhood amidst all this chaos and secrecy?
Yeah, that's a good question. How did she manage it all?
Well, those are questions you'll have to discover for yourself.
Oh, come on. Give me a little hint.
But I promise you, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo will take you on an emotional roller coaster.
I can't wait to read it.
It's one of those stories that stays with you long after you turn the final page.
I bet it sounds amazing. It's so interesting how the book uses each of Evelyn's husbands to show us a different era in Hollywood.
Right. It's like we get this backstage pass to the golden age.
All the glitz and the glamour, but also the secrets and the scandals.
Yeah. And even how some things never seem to change.
Like what?
Well, like how women were treated, especially back then.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like take her second husband, Don Adler.
Okay, Don Adler.
On the surface, they were this glamorous couple,
Like the it couple.
But the book doesn't hold back.
What do you mean?
It shows the dark side of their relationship.
Oh, no, that's awful.
Yeah, Don was possessive and jealous. He tried to control her in all these subtle ways.
It's scary. It's like a slow descent into a nightmare.
It is. And what's even more heartbreaking is that Evelyn had to pretend everything was okay.
I bet. For her career and her image.
Imagine that pressure, choosing between your safety and your ambition.
That is such a tough choice.
It makes you realize how much things have changed, but also how much they haven't.
What do you mean?
I mean, women in Hollywood still face so much pressure today.
True. They have to look a certain way, act a certain way.
And play by the rules of a system that's not always fair.
That's a great point. The book really makes you think about these bigger issues.
And you see that play out in her other marriages, too.
Like how?
Well, with Rex North, she uses marriage as a way to protect herself.
Protect herself from what?
From the press, from the rumors, from the truth about her relationship with Celia.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. They had to be so careful back then.
And then there's Harry Cameron.
What about Harry?
Their marriage is this complex mix of friendship, loyalty, and unspoken feelings.
Oh, so there was love there, but maybe not romantic love.
It makes you wonder if any of her husbands really knew her.
The real Evelyn.
Or if she even knew herself sometimes.
What do you mean?
It seems like she was always adapting, changing, to fit the role she was expected to play.
Like the glamorous movie star, the perfect wife.
Or even the doting mother.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She adopts a daughter, Connor.
Which brings up a whole other question.
What's that?
How did she balance motherhood with this unconventional life, all while keeping this huge secret?
That's a good point. She had a lot going on.
She's constantly on the move, always in the spotlight.
I can't imagine trying to raise a kid with all that pressure.
It makes you wonder what kind of impact that had on Connor.
Growing up like that with a mom like Evelyn Hugo.
Their relationship is definitely one of the most complex and moving parts of the story.
Yeah, family relationships can be like that.
Even with all the fame and fortune, things can still be messy.
So true. And speaking of messy, let's talk about Max Gerard.
Oh, Max Gerard. Talk about a whirlwind.
What was he like?
He was this brilliant director, but also kind of volatile.
Sounds intense.
Their relationship was passionate, exciting, but also destructive.
Those are always the most captivating, aren't they?
It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know it's not going to end well,
Yeah.
but you can't look away.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. And it's during their marriage that she films 3 a.m.
Which becomes this huge moment for her career, but also causes a lot of drama in her personal life.
Oh, I bet. Why's that?
The movie 3 a.m., it's almost like a character itself in the book.
How so?
It represents her ambition and her willingness to push boundaries, but it also shows the double standard she faced as a woman.
What do you mean by double standard?
I mean, men could get away with being sexually suggestive on screen, but women were judged for it.
That's so unfair.
It is. And the book really highlights that hypocrisy, how women were held to different standards than men.
It's crazy how that was just accepted back then.
And it's still an issue today in Hollywood and beyond.
Yeah, we've come a long way, but there's still work to be done.
And filming 3 a.m. really impacts her relationship with Celia.
In what way?
It leads to heartbreak, separation, and forces them both to reevaluate what they really want.
That's tough to choose between love and career.
And it makes you wonder, what would you do in that situation?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
The book really puts you in their shoes. You feel their pain and their longing.
And their determination to find a way back to each other.
Even if it takes decades.
Wow, so they do end up back together.
Well, you'll have to read to find out.
Oh, come on. Just give me a little hint.
Let's just say that Evelyn's past has a way of catching up with her.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
And the truth, as they say, always comes out.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What happens next?
Well, that's a story for part 3.
I can't wait.
But I can tell you this. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is more than just a Hollywood tell-all.
It sounds like it.
It's about resilience, second chances, and the power of living your truth,
I love that.
even when it comes at a price.
As Evelyn's career starts winding down, she really starts reflecting on her life.
Yeah, like she's searching for something more.
Like, what's it all been for?
More than fame and fortune, you know.
Right, like what really matters.
And that's when she makes this surprising decision. She walks away from a huge movie role
Really? Why would she do that?
to focus on her daughter, Connor.
Wow, that's a big deal.
It shows how her priorities have shifted.
From career to family?
Like she's finally realizing that success isn't everything.
It's the people we love that truly matter.
Exactly. And we see this softer side of Evelyn,
Not just the Hollywood icon.
but a mother trying to connect with her daughter,
Which isn't always easy.
especially when you're dealing with a teenager.
And all the baggage that comes with being Evelyn Hugo's kid.
There's a lot of tension between them.
Yeah, Connor's questioning everything.
All of Evelyn's choices, the secrets she kept.
But through all the arguments
There's this deep love.
and a need to understand each other,
It's like they're both on this journey of self-discovery.
figuring out who they are as individuals and as mother and daughter.
And then there's Harry Cameron.
What about Harry?
He finds love too.
Really? Tell me more.
But it's later in life, and it's with a man.
Wow, that's amazing, but probably risky back then.
It was. And it shows that it's never too late to embrace who you are.
To find happiness on your own terms.
And Evelyn protects him
From what?
from the prejudice, the homophobia.
That makes sense. She's always been a fighter.
She uses her power and influence to shield him.
That's true friendship right there.
It shows how much she cares for him.
And how much she's willing to risk for the people she loves.
And then she and Celia, they reunite.
They do, finally.
It's this heartwarming moment.
But I bet it's complicated.
They've both been through so much,
Grown and changed.
but the spark is still there,
The connection remains strong.
like they were always meant to be.
But the timing was never right.
And now they have a
To
chance,
create a life together.
away from the spotlight, the judgment.
Where they can just be themselves.
They find this quiet town in Spain,
Sounds peaceful.
but the past still haunts them.
Yeah, the regrets, the what ifs.
And then Celia gets sick.
Oh no, that's terrible.
It's a reminder that life is fragile.
And time is precious.
How do they cope with that?
With facing the possibility of losing the one you love.
They face it together,
With grace and courage.
making the most of every moment.
And their bond grows even stronger.
They find strength in each other.
Solace in the simple things.
And then there's this huge twist.
What? Tell me.
Connor's parentage.
What about it?
It's not what she thinks.
Oh, wow. That changes everything.
It makes Evelyn confront her past.
The choices she made, the secrets she kept.
And it brings up all these questions about truth and forgiveness.
But it also leads to a deeper understanding between Evelyn and Connor.
A recognition of love, even when it comes from unexpected places.
It's like the missing piece of the puzzle.
And it explains why Evelyn chose Monique to tell her story.
Monique, the journalist.
Yes. It's all about protecting Connor, making sure her legacy is one of truth and authenticity.
That's so powerful. She wanted Connor to know the real her.
Flaws and all.
And to understand the choices she made.
It's about owning our stories,
Embracing our complexities.
living authentically, even if it's hard.
It's a beautiful message.
The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is more than just a Hollywood story.
It's about resilience and love.
And finding your truth, no matter the cost.
It's a must-read.
If you haven't already, add it to your list.
You won't be disappointed.
And that wraps up our deep dive.
Into the world of Evelyn Hugo.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep seeking out stories that challenge and inspire you.